Be on now.
I think so. Yeah. Oh, and I even have my glasses on. Wow. Wow. We're all set.
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, I will call this meeting to order. Our members present, Tina absent. And we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I need a motion to add an executive session at the end of our meeting.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Okay. And you'll look up, Alan, the pursuant to statute. Okay. Did everybody have a chance to look over the minutes of our November meeting? If so, are there any amendments or revisions needed?
No, not from me.
So I'm looking for a motion to accept those. Removed. Okay,
Second.
any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay, do we have, okay, let me check. Okay, we don't have anybody signed up
Nope.
for public. Okay. All right. So put it out there. Any public comment on an agenda item?
Sure. Eric?
Okay, what agenda item are you speaking of?
Oh, that would be tonight's, yeah. Again,
Tonight's agenda.
so would that be only what's covered tonight or
So we have
just
two public,
everything?
comment sections. One is on agenda items, which is right now. And then number 11 on our agenda is for non-agenda items.
Okay. So it would be non-agenda.
Okay,
Okay.
So we'll-
That I'm looking at, I mean, I don't really see.
We'll just speak up when we get to that.
we'll get
Sure.
back to you then when we get there.
All right,
Okay.
sorry about that.
Okay, so hey, you're up. Okay.
Sure where I should stand? Is this a good spot or do you want me to come over here?
That's the mic, correct?
Okay.
Yes.
So
Near the mic is probably
near the
good.
mic is great.
Okay.
And kind of where the camera can see you.
Okay.
Perfect. And before we go further, Kate Sterling is our Director of Special Services. And I asked her to come tonight to do an overview of sort of the special education, what it is, why we have it, and how it plays out in Sebago School Department and Sebago Elementary School. So Kate, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to share our hard work at Sebago. In thinking about how we deliver special education services, I thought I'd share a brief historical summary. The Education for All Handicapped Children Act of 1975 states that public schools accepting federal funds must provide equal access to educational opportunities for children with disabilities. In addition, public schools must evaluate children with disabilities and create individualized education plans that accommodate their unique needs. The next law, and the last law I'd like to share tonight, is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. Accepting federal.
Sorry. I was trying to make sure it was live here and just trying to make sure. Oh, good. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. It ensures that students with special needs receive appropriate, free public education in the least restrictive environment. This helps students with special needs receive the extra assistance that they need in order to participate in all activities. At Sebago Elementary and the Sebago School District, we provide high-quality instruction to our students and offers a wide variety of special education opportunities for its students in grades kindergarten through graduation. We offer multiple programming options for our students who receive special education services based on their individual needs. This includes the general education setting. This placement is defined by law as students spending 80% or more of their school day in the regular education classroom. The resource room is defined by students who spend 40 to 79% of their school day in the general education setting. The self-contained placement is defined by students who spend less than 39% of their school day in the general education classroom. A separate purpose private school placement is defined by students who spend 0% of their day in the general education classroom. We currently have one special education director for 3 days per week, one full-time special education teacher. We have an opening for a special education teacher, half-time. We have 3.5 ed techs, one special education van driver, one social worker who is here 3 days per week, a speech therapist who's here for 2 days per week. We contract with an occupational therapist who is here for 2 days per week, and we contract with a school psychologist who is here as needed. The special education services for students at Sebago in grades 6 through 12 include attendance at Lake Region Middle School, Lake Region High School, or the vocational school. A small number of students receive special services at other public schools or special purpose private schools. Sebago students are provided with the same level of special education services that were mentioned earlier. Students with IEPs or students who are referred for special education services are represented by me, the special education director. I have full access to student records within the Lake Region School District. As the special education director, I am invited to and attend every IEP meeting. I have the responsibility for ensuring special education oversight over special education programming for all Sebago students. The special education documents created at our IEP meetings are developed in collaboration with the staff at the attending school. All paperwork is provided for me for review before documents are placed in a student's official educational record. This ensures the protection of educational rights for children with disabilities who reside within Sebago. My role as a special education director is to provide advocacy for our students in those meetings so we all know that we have somebody on our side of the table. I feel that this is a really big benefit for Sebago students. I'd like to give a big thank you to the Lake Region School Department for their collaboration in providing special education services to our students. I'd like to take a little look at the number of students receiving special education services. For the year 2022, Sebago Elementary's average was 19.66. This is compared to 2021, the main average of students receiving special education services at 19.44%. Overall at the Sebago department, the average of number of students receiving special education is 19.35 against Maine's average of 19.41. These numbers demonstrate that we are on par with the average number of students receiving special education services across Maine. I'd like to provide a couple of brief updates about the special education department. The Maine Department of Education Office of Special Services is going to visit Sebago Elementary School on March 23rd, 2022, as part of their monitoring procedures. The monitoring process is a thorough one. It includes a review of records, review of policies, a school inspection, survey to parents, and there's more. Parents, please note that a survey will be emailed to you in the early part of the new year. I welcome feedback from all parents. It will help us evaluate our program and help make recommendations going forward. The Maine DOE is undergoing federal monitoring of their own this year. The monitoring process is simply a procedural requirement that occurs in all states, school districts, and private schools across the United States. Going forward, the Special Education Department would like to focus on the implementation of special education services to address student needs. We will continue our work to ensure that we are meeting the needs of all of our students who receive special education programming. This year, our staff have undergone training in 2 Linda Mood Bell programs, as well as obtained the complete kits from the Maine DOE. We have also received training in the Number Worlds Math program. Our focus is to enrich educational and instructional opportunities for our students so they can demonstrate growth. We are also hopeful for a new half-time special education teacher. In closing, I'd like to thank the community of Sebago for its continued support of our students and our staff. I'd like to thank our dedicated staff for being there every day to teach our kids. And lastly, I'd like to thank the students at Sebago. We are all behind you and we are all here to support you. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Did you have any questions?
No.
Okay.
Kate, I have a question about timing of the DOE audit. So the DOE visit is in March, but the audit is actually kind of,
Ongoing.
and because we are sending materials and
Yep, we are creating a document for them that assesses our paperwork, our policies and procedures. It's a document that they will review. And at the end of their monitoring process, they'll send us a letter of findings, and that will include things that they've noticed and anything that we've been doing well and anything that they would like us to do going forward.
and the timing of their feedback.
Probably May to June.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you so much.
for your presentation. Operations.
So the operations committee met today. We are building a multi-year capital improvement plan. We are into identifying areas that need capital investment. And we are beginning to put prices and in some cases contractors together so that we can come to the committee sometime this spring with a multi-year capital improvement plan that is detailed with next steps, funding sources, and make that part of our ongoing local budget process, but also we have capital needs that will not be addressed through the local budget and will require a more significant investment. And giving the committee as much information as early as possible so that you can do appropriate planning going forward is our goal. So we continue to address immediate health and safety issues as they come up. And we know that we have a lot of work based on years of deferred maintenance and limited investment in our school building. So continue to report every meeting, but look for that multi-year capital improvement plan in the spring.
Thank you. Okay, Kirsten, principals report.
Today was dress up day, school. So I'm just up for Christmas. Always feel this outfit needs an explanation. We raised $436.04 in the penny war. I saw some real strategizing going on as the kids chose which container to put their coins in. In the end, the red team won with a big check in their jar. We had 21 children sign up for the program, which is less than we've had in prior years. And I can only assume that the smaller number is related to the extra child payments the government has been providing this year. I would like to give a huge thank you to our lead bus driver, Michelle Stows, for working a lot of extra hours to make sure our kids were able to get to and from school while we were down a driver. I would also like to give a huge thank you to our elementary parents who were extremely helpful during our driver shortage, with many of them transporting their children to and or from school. Pool testing. Chris and I have lost lots of sleep over this. We miraculously only had 2 positive pool tests the Monday after Thanksgiving. On the 6th, we received 1 positive pool, but it appears to be a false positive because all students in that pool tested negative twice. And we had 1 positive pool on the 13th. I think we can both agree. We're very happy. We didn't have to do it this week. The state suspended the reporting of vaccination rates among school staff. We do not have any word on when or if this will be started up again. We will be hosting a COVID-19 flu vaccine clinic for our students on January 10th, with the second dose happening on February 7th. This will happen during an early release. Flyers were sent home on the 10th. Only students who are between the ages of 5 and 11 may participate, and a parent or guardian must be present for the child to get the vaccine so they can monitor their child during the required wait time after the vaccination. We also know that many families have already taken their children to get vaccinated. The school store fundraiser that I did in the fall is one of those ongoing things. The school itself received $491.18 in proceeds. I used those funds to purchase toolkits for staff members, real actual toolkits, shaped like an apple, labeled the Sebago Elementary School. Teachers were very happy with them. Many families purchased gift cards for their child's teacher. Grade 1 received $210, grade 4, $240, grade 5, $260, grade 3, $350, pre-K, $370, second grade, $550, and kindergarten, $1,000.
Oh my goodness.
The teachers can use these funds to purchase items for their classrooms from the school store website. Our music teacher, Haloy Johnson, is in the National Guard. And about a week and a half ago, she was informed that she was being activated and will be deploying to Africa for 6 months. She left yesterday. With the required training, she won't actually be returning until August. Of course, we all wish her well and will really miss her. The kids all signed a card and kindergartners wrote her a letter. They all said goodbye to her on their way out the door. There is a silver lining. Liz Cannell, our health and PE teacher, has agreed to begin covering music classes again. She did the same thing for us last year when Miss Waller got a full-time job at the same time of year. And that's all we have going on at Sebago Elementary.
Thank you. You're welcome. Kirsten, what was the February date for the second?
We
vaccine?
have it listed at February.
You just said February.
10th. No. Wait, hold on.
So,
The 7th. Yeah, flyers went home on the 10th, sorry. January 10th is when the first one and second goes, February 7th.
okay, thank you. Okay. All right, Chairwoman's report. Well, I do have one tonight. Number 1, we have a letter from Tina Vaness. She wrote, Dear Madam, actually, should I be reading this out loud? No. Okay. she has resigned from the school committee. So she is not with us right now.
What's the effective date to know?
The effective date, yes, I do have that, is as of December 30th.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah. We are going to, I'm switching, this is two. We are going to be changing the time of our meetings so that parents have an easier time of making our meetings. We're switching from 6:30 to 7. Our workshops will be from 6:30 to 7. Our meeting will be at 7. So that's an informational item. And Wendy, I believe you had something you'd like to say.
Yes, I just wanted to say, we had our first annual Winter Lantern Parade on Sunday, the 19th. And thanks to Spice and the PTC. And we wanted to thank everybody who came with their kids, and especially thank Brenda McGinnis for helping us all make lanterns for the kids. Andy Tappas for providing music. And thank you to Kirsten for helping us out getting things logistically figured out with lanterns and sheds and tables in there as well and
Yep.
other things. We had over 100 people come to our first parade, and the full moon was rising as we were walking out into the playground, and it was just gorgeous. So thank you, everyone, and we hope to have a better improved one for next year. So we'll see what happens.
Live fire next year?
Well, if you say we can.
Mrs. Goff says no.
Oh, check out Facebook, the community, Sebago community Facebook page to see pictures, because there are a lot of pictures posted there, so.
It looked like a wonderful, wonderful
It
thing.
was.
I wish I had been able to make
I
it.
know.
Oh, right up my alley. And I am remiss. Wow. I want to thank Tina for her years of service to the school committee. She put a lot of time and effort into what she did here. So she will be missed. Okay, superintendent's report.
Thank you. It's a two-part report. One is an update, quick one, and then I'd like to spend a little more time going over my entry plan. So I too would like to thank Tina for her work on the board, her commitment to our students, our staff, and our community. So thank you, Tina.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Also would like to thank Deb Howard and Al McDonald, who donated a 24-inch flat top griddle to our food service program. We really appreciate that, and the kids will benefit as we move forward. Also in the food service world, Morgan Terrio, our food service director, applied for and received a $5,000 grant from Full Plates, Full Potential. That money will has allowed us to purchase an additional freezer, which we will use to hold our local produce, and also the increased number of products that we need to have on hand as our global supply chain issues kind of ripple through the school. So Morgan, thank you for that, and Full Plates, Full Potential, thank you very much for supporting us. I'll give the heads up now. We've called a remote learning day for tomorrow based on the prediction of the weather. Students went home with learning packets and food if parents have signed up for that. Mrs. Goff sent a note around and a call. If parents are interested in signing up for food service meal in preparation ahead of snow days, There's a form on the website under food service. Please, we encourage you, take advantage of it. It's no cost. We want to make sure everybody has food, whether we're in school or at home. We want to keep the learning going. And this is a positive. We've hired April May, the chair, to work as an Ed Tech 1, supporting our students. And she'll work on our special education team. We also have a licensed, certified, and available bus driver who's been filling in for us. And we have offered him a part-time position. So thank you, Raymond Dingley, for coming on board. And in the feast or famine, we also have a community member that we're supporting in obtaining his bus driver's license. So we have provided the opportunity to ride along, see what a bus driver's day is like. He'll do some training with Michelle and hopefully pass his road test next week. And then hopefully you'll be listening to me saying that we have hired an additional part-time bus driver who will also go back and forth with van driving. And there's a very good chance that on the first of the year, we are in a much better position than we have been since July 1st in transportation. So Kirsten, thank you very much for leading that work as the director, and hopefully more good news next time we get together. And different note, I think it's important that the committee and the community realize how much this year differs from last year. So while we're still wearing masks and while we're still taking precautions around distance and sanitation, we have seen incredible disruption to our students' learning. As of the beginning of December, we recorded 527 student absences. And at that same time last year, we recorded 280. So we're looking at almost double the amount of student absences. Primarily due to increased positive cases of COVID-19 and quarantining of students identified as close contacts. Close contacts have also been identified through community spread. And while we're working hard to make this year as close to pre-pandemic school as possible, the reality is there are more disruptions to student learning, to student attendance. There are more requirements for our teachers who are preparing almost individualized instruction as 1, 2, 3, 10 students are out for different periods of time. Teachers are providing instructional materials for students who can't attend school and trying to figure out how best to deliver the programs of instruction that we've invested in to support our students' learning when on any given day, one student's out, half this class is out. And we've had staffing shortages since I came on board July 1st. We've not been full staffed, and we're not full staffed right now. When you put that all together, we've seen changes to the school day and the bus runs as we try to work through staffing shortages. We've talked about the challenge of building robust instructional learning when you're never sure who's in front of you or how long a student will be out. And we continue to be in this public health crisis. So the reality is, this isn't school as we used to do it. It's different and in many ways more challenging than the last 2 years have been. So we'll continue to work together to support our students. We expect to hear from the Department of Ed and the Maine CDC next week about revisions to the standard operating procedure around COVID-19. We'll keep you posted on that. We will continue to both try to support the health and safety of our students by communicating and following up on the committee's reopening plan as best we can. And I'm continuing to give you the message that it isn't school as usual this year. One of the pieces we talked about last meeting was, does staff, do the educators need some additional time? Last year, one of the pieces that the committee gave was a calendar built with additional early release time. It's something that we will be bringing forward and ask you to really consider. That's one thing that we know we can do. So that is the superintendent's report. I'm happy to entertain questions from committee members around that.
On what you were just saying about
Yes.
the early release days and whatnot. Is it still no students signed up for the ski program? I mean, there really
We-
isn't a ski program
We
anymore.
do not have,
I just want that info to be out there that
so I want to get the name of the ski club right. It is the
Pleasant Mountain.
Pleasant Mountain Ski Club told us that there is not one Sebago resident between the ages of birth and whatever a fifth grader is.
Yeah.
Signed up for the ski program this year.
which they changed their programs.
The program has changed completely.
There's no instruction any longer.
There's no instruction any longer. There's just,
Defeats the purpose of the whole thing.
Right.
And no Sebago students are signed up.
Right.
So in light of that,
yes.
my question is, your request to change
We would,
the Monday early release days in January and February to Wednesday early release days
stick with the predictable
on the
pattern.
calendar.
Yes.
Is that something that you would like us to vote on tonight?
It would be a great,
Is it something we need to
Yes.
vote on?
you approve the calendar, you should approve revisions to the
Okay.
calendar.
So would this be changing it from what are now, what, Mondays?
January and
Just for
February,
Okay,
the early release, the monthly early release shifts to Monday.
Right.
Only to support the ski program, which there isn't.
right. So change it to Wednesdays. Is that what you're-
So predictable for parents, childcare,
Mhm.
after school activities.
So it would keep it consistent through the end of the year.
Right.
Okay.
And were you also asking for some additional early release days to help the teachers?
So that would be something that I wouldn't feel comfortable asking without a noticed agenda item. I want to communicate to you that it's something that we're seriously considering asking for going forward.
Okay, so can I ask
Oh,
the
wait,
rest of the
I know what you're gonna say, Chris.
members?
I say we
No,
don't,
don't do anything yet.
I say we don't worry about the clinic. Let it happen on the dates that are already there.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. We scheduled the vaccine clinic for Mondays in
Okay.
January and February.
Okay, so do you want to?
I want to get back to you if we're requesting a change.
Okay, okay, so I just wanted to be clear, and
Yes,
if I could interject one other thing, I'm sorry.
that's fine.
The ski program that we used to have, which I want to say was done by volunteers, because I know I taught several groups how to ski. There is a need for a public-minded supporter in education group in the town of Sebago, along with the PTC and some other groups, to perhaps have some discussions and see if we can't get something going for next year. So we have a year. And there may well be plenty of volunteers who would like to go up and teach kiddos to ski and snowboard. But we have to look into Shawnee Peak. We'll have to talk to them. We'll have to look into liability. That's a big one.
Right.
Is it on the mountain or is it on the individuals doing this? Is it on the school? Shouldn't be on the school, I don't think. But
Well, if it's at the mountain, the liability is up to the individual going to the mountain.
okay, which I thought. All
Good
right.
point.
Okay, so
It was-
just things
yeah.
to think about and discuss.
And it was the Pleasant Mountain Ski Club who made these decisions about the change of the format. So it was the decision that was just made, a blanket decision made for all of Lake Region. So we would have to come up with our own individual ski program. I
Right,
think.
right.
Okay,
No, that's what I'm talking about,
Okay.
just Sebago. And originally, back in the day, it was the Downey Ski Club who ran the program.
That's what,
And they kind of aged out of existence in running that, I guess. So that's enough about the ski program for now, but it was a much loved thing here. Okay, thank you, David.
you're welcome. So the second part of the superintendent's report tonight is my entry plan. So an entry plan is a way for a leader coming into an organization to learn about the organization, learn about the community the organization exists in, for having the community learn about the leader coming on board, and ideally to focus energy and resources going forward based on evidence that's presented in the entry plan. So the entry plan that I put together looks at different sources of evidence about the Sebago community and school department. One of those areas is demographics, or who we are. One of those areas is student learning. So how are our students doing? One of those areas is perceptions. How do we see ourselves? And one of those areas is structures and processes. So how do we accomplish our work? And in the end, I put out a series of recommendations that the committee, the staff, and the community will look at together as we plan these next 3, 4, 5 years of Sebago School Department's existence as we build from startup into a more sustainable organization. So Sebago School Department has a short and long history. So the district was formed in 2018 after the school department withdrew from SAD 61. Education has been going on in the Sebago community for almost 200 years. And some of those buildings are still present with us. The series of demographic evidences that I've chosen to highlight, we look at enrollment, we look at kind of comparison of what SAD 61 had projected would be the future of Sebago and the reality of what we're seeing with student enrollment in Sebago. We look at some expenditures, and we look at the percentage of our students who are receiving free and reduced lunch as a marker for socioeconomic status. And we also look at some more special education data going forward. Good news is that our enrollment is actually increasing based on kindergarten enrollment over time and fifth grade enrollment moving forward. Student learning is a really challenging area in the state of Maine recently. The state has changed assessments multiple times, making it very difficult to draw comparisons over time. And COVID has created a number of years where no assessments were given at the state level. So very hard to find evidence of student learning outside of the school itself, since Sebago has been its own department. I did pull some grade 12 student achievement data that we got from Lake Region High School. And there was 1 year of state assessment in reading and math. And then the district has begun, the school has begun to use the NWEA, and we can begin to see multiple years of comparable data in reading and math across our grades 1 through 5. Again, the area that I wish there was more evidence, more robust, objective evidence. There will be as we go on. This year, there's just not that much. Meeting with staff, community members, committee members, perceptions, highlights are people feeling good about the strong and caring community, our caring staff, the ability to maintain small class sizes, the ability to provide individual attention to our students, and in preparation for the middle school as students move from 5th to 6th grade. Concerns, and again, I try to look for things that come up more than once in this. So communications got flagged. My experience as an educator over decades is that communication is always flagged. And I think it's something in education we just continue to need to do better. Responsiveness, connected to communication, how we respond in a timely or not so timely way to requests. In almost the exact opposite of our ability to give individual attention was the inability to meet student needs because of our small size and limited programming. Uneven experience from grade to grade. We have one teacher at each grade level. Each is a truly wonderful and unique individual. As a student progresses through the school, there's a feeling from some people that I spoke with that it's uneven, can be uneven from the student and parent perspective. And then sustainability. As a very small school and a very small district, is it possible to maintain a reasonable budget and a high level of service that we expect for our students and staff in the coming years? In the area of structures and processes, I'm not going to go into it. We look at budget. We look at budget as a percent of the town school budget, as a percent of the town budget. And then I presented an organizational chart. It is not organized in any way because that's one of those areas for growth, beginning to look at ourselves more as a system and organization and less as a group of people who come together to support students. And then at the end, what I think is sort of the basis of what we will need going forward are a series of recommendations. These I do want to take time to highlight individually. These are not in a priority order, so I'll read them in the order I wrote them in. So we have a need to develop a multi-year capital improvement plan. The operations report I did highlight some of those needs. We have a lot of unmet need, and we have to move beyond thinking 1 year at a time and what can we do with $50,000. Second is to develop a system for creating and managing budget, which includes cost center managers, regular budget review meetings, and a pre-approval process for all expenditures, along with regular reporting to the school committee. So again, in the vein of moving beyond the personal into the professional, there's some work around finance that needs to happen. If you look at one of the items under demographics, you'll see that while we have 15 students enrolled pre-K to 5, we have more than 20 students who reside in Sebago and aren't sending their students to school in Sebago. So understanding why parents make that choice and seeing what we find out. Make sure that all staff have annual supervision plans that include goals, evidence of progress towards those goals, and regular written feedback. It's how we get better, is understanding how we're doing. And connected to that is building a more comprehensive system for collecting, managing, and using evidence of student learning and social emotional growth. We can't rely on the state, nor should we rely on the state assessment to tell us everything we need to know about our students, but we should be intentional and consistent about what we gather as evidence of student learning, what we gather as evidence of social emotional growth, and what we do with that information. Connected to Kate's special education report, it's time to look at the current processes and structures for student support in Sebago Elementary School. What do we do and how are we doing with it? It is always, this isn't not just students receiving special education services. This is everything we do from basic core instruction to high needs special education service. And then explore collaboration with other school districts to best support students in district operations. We are a small district. We want to stay a small district. And we have 217 students we're currently responsible for, pre-K to graduation. We need to make sure that we are supporting them in a sustainable and effective way. And some of that is not going to happen within the district. Exploring what that looks like. And the same with district operations like finance and all the other pieces that go into operations. Is how can we best collaborate to be sustainable going forward? So that is the entry plan. Alan, I just emailed that as an attachment
Thank you.
with my report. Happy to entertain questions, comments, and happy to let it sit for a little bit, if that's the way we go.
Does anybody have any questions or comments about the entry plan?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you for putting all of that information together for us. It's very interesting to look at. Does the public get a copy of that or no?
Yes, it will be posted in the minutes.
Okay.
I will send it around to staff tomorrow. And
Okay.
so it will be on the website available minutes as soon as we adopt them.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, we're up to action items. So A, job description, second readings. Where did I write that? So I need a motion to adopt all three as revised.
Motion to adopt all three job descriptions as revised.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay. And B, job descriptions first reads. I need a motion to accept all three as first reads.
Make a motion to accept the, all three as first reads.
Adopted as amended, excuse me.
I think we're on the first read already.
The first reads, Joe. Do you want a second Wendy's motion to accept the Ed Tech 2, Ed Tech 3, and Library Media Ed Tech 3 job descriptions as a first read?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Do we have any items for future agenda that we need to,
We should put calendar on there.
okay? And I think an ongoing discussion should be the special education department.
And,
And
and Janelle, I'm assuming your January and February is gonna be 7 o'clock for both those school committee meetings,
yes,
rather than 6:30. So
yes.
we'll change that.
Okay,
I've got the online calendar updated.
The workshop can be a half hour.
yeah, and so the workshop would be from 6:30 to 7, Alan,
Okay.
and then the meeting would be at 7 o'clock.
I thought you were gonna have a extremely long workshop, starting at 5:30,
No,
bring donuts.
Yeah.
So the workshop's only going to be
Half an hour.
half an hour.
half an hour,
Okay.
which is enough to do what we're doing.
And, I'm not sure about the reopening plan, but I'll let you know based on what we hear next week, if
Okay.
there's something to revisit.
Okay,
Are you having a committee meeting?
No, the state and the
Oh, the
CDC
state,
are
okay.
revising their standard operating procedures.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now we are up to public comment on non-agenda items.
Boy, just like that, huh?
So-
Good.
so
Move
I'm
fast.
just- I'm just gonna review. We must remain respectful. We cannot name staff members. And we have a 2-minute time limit on comments. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
The first thing.
And you should identify
Spell your
yourself.
last name.
Sure,
Yes.
yeah, it's a big one. So my first name is Eric.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, Karwowski, Karwowski.
Good Irish name.
Yeah, close. Good. Well, I want to dig up the golden ticket. I'm sure everybody's heard. Not sure, I guess, it's in my own time here. I only get 2 minutes. But the purpose of the ticket or the effectiveness, what's the reason for the ticket, I guess? I'm not quite wording that correctly.
I don't know what my, would you,
Do your comments and then we'll
We'll address it.
work through.
Okay, so, all right, the ticket. Can we, we've tried it, can we do without it? How are we benefiting from the ticket? We have, I get it, last time we spoke, the elementary school on its own. Just doing it in elementary school, you're not doing the middle and the high school. Which doesn't quite make sense. And how is it, how are we keeping the numbers down just with the ticket? And I know I've talked to other parents, the students, and they kind of feel the same way. It's not necessary. I think the word I was looking for is necessary. Why is the ticket necessary? That's necessary, I believe, is the word I was looking for. And when we talked, he said it was necessary to hold the parents accountable for any infected students coming in. But there was one day where my child was held accountable. They were held captive prisoner in the office for several hours until I came down here. I mean, it's 4 years old. That's a long time out, several hours. And if it was supposed to be, I should be taking the time out, not my child. And that certainly changed him. Yeah, so that's probably about 2 minutes, I'd say. I don't want to waste too much of your time. Didn't quite come out the way I planned it to. Like I said, it's my first time ever attending a school board meeting. Didn't know what to expect. I'd like to attend more in the future.
We would like you to attend more.
Sure, yeah. And so I've got one
Bring
in
your
pre-K.
friends.
We got one in ninth grade, one in pre-K, and then two more that aren't in school yet. So we moved to Sebago about coming up on 4 years ago,
Mhm.
and plan to stay here forever. Kids are going to go right through the school system. But yeah, I just feel that it's not very effective. It's, obviously my kid was punished with not having the ticket. But yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. And
If certainly ask me any questions, I can
I-
further touch on anything else with that.
I thank you for your comments. I think we should look into which would fall under next month's agenda,
Looking at
with the reopening plan.
Can I add an idea? Should
Sure.
we possibly have the parents of the students kind of maybe vote, like yes or no, on the ticket issue? I mean, because I know a lot of parents aren't for it. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot that are for it. I don't know a lot of the parents, and the parents I do talk to, I don't even know who they are. Like I said, pre-K, so I've never been in the school before. So
As,
a lot of faces are new. I mean, every face is new to me for the most part. And like I said, I want to be part of this.
because the school committee created and approved the reopening plan, then we have to work through that process in order to change anything on the reopening plan. We have processes we have to follow, which unfortunately aren't always quick
So
because
is there
this is
a-
governmental stuff, but that is on our agenda for our next meeting in January. And will be a discussion at that point, and we will bring information with us about that, but we need time to gather some information,
Sure,
okay?
but to make changes, let's say if you were to discuss it, it's not set for the entire year. It's set for the next meeting you guys have. I mean, it could be a change. Possibly.
I can't make any guarantees. All I can tell you is we will do some research, gather some information, and when we meet on January 25th, Alan, not the 26th, at 7:00. Change that. We will have that on our agenda as one of the pieces of work that we'll be working on. Okay?
Great.
Okay. And in the meantime, please bear with us,
Sure, yeah,
okay?
yeah, sure.
Now, to fully understand the situation, what exactly transpired as far as you just announced?
It didn't have, I got him to school, as usual.
Yep.
Got him, but he just didn't have the piece of paper.
And you just you forgot it, you had to get to work and stuff, right?
Yeah, so, and I was out, I'm only right up the street, I'm right next to the transfer station, it takes me 3 minutes to get here, but I went downtown, and I just couldn't get here right away to bail him out with the ticket, but I mean, it just over a piece of paper, the child's being punished.
I mean, I'm a parent myself. I mean, just I've forgotten it multiple times. I've had to go back and grab it and run back in, you know, with the kid. I totally understand. Now, as far as, the time change, is 7 more feasible for you as a working parent?
For me, yes,
Okay, good.
yeah,
That's what I want to hear.
but I'm just one person too,
I
so.
know, I know.
But yes, I just lost, how's that got that's up here, just saying, oh my God.
Trend hero.
So,
Yeah.
so I believe we have one other person who wants to do a comment.
Hi.
So, Chris?
I'm Chris, the school nurse. Okay, and that ticket, especially with Omicron coming, because the symptoms are so varied. Having that assessment by the parent, knowing that you know that the kid has this, I would say that my first hour of the day, I'm doing most of my COVID tests and turning around and sending my sick children home the most. It would be so much nicer to have the children not be in school at all, that you know your kid, that you quizzed your kid. I ask the kids and they say, oh, mom gave me a red pill. Well, I kind of know that's ibuprofen. Oh, she gave me, you know, we're in a pandemic. I'm trying to keep the school as open as I can. You know, that ticket is kind of a conscience of, is this kid really sick? Or are you really going to come 15 minutes later after the school bus? Because your kid told me they don't feel good. And I know you might find a piece of paper a real pain in the butt. But I think to have your kid be on a bus with a bunch of, and then be in a school, you know, and then turn around a half hour after school starts and have me calling you, please pick up your kid. I think that's more disruptive to a poor child's than you just giving a piece of paper to a bus driver.
I don't look at it as a pain in the butt. I'm not looking at it like that. But what's scary is we have to trust all the parents going through this checklist, which I doubt.
I want to trust everybody.
No, I understand, but it doesn't, it's kind of senseless, that's all.
I believe in trust, and I believe that if you put your name on it, I should trust you.
Okay, and on that note,
Can I add one other comment? Sorry.
you may.
It's contact tracing. We
Yes.
keep where we get the tickets from, tells us where the kid was. So we know that that kid was dropped off by a parent. We don't have to worry about who was sitting next to them on the bus. If that child came in on S1, I know I can go look there, find out where that child sat next to, because that determines who their close contacts are, or if they're on S4, same thing. So we separate those those come into us separately. So we know exactly who was where, and we spend a lot of time doing contract tracing. And it's a reminder, a daily reminder to parents to check it off. So that is the main reasons for those golden tickets.
Okay. All right, and I thank everybody for your comments and come to our January meeting.
Come to the what?
The January
meeting.
January 25th at 7 o'clock.
And Janelle, you're gonna put pre-opening along with the calendar on the agenda next time?
Yes.
Okay.
We will.
January 25th.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
okay.
25th,
Yeah,
yes.
25th.
Sure. And I'm able to review I don't know if I'm speaking online here, raise my hand, but I could review this online ahead of the meeting, is that correct?
Yes.
Agendas are posted
Yes, you can.
along with previous meeting minutes as soon as they're approved.
And they're all on the school website.
Very good.
Okay. All right. So number 12, information items. I think we just covered Our next workshop is January 25th at 6:30, and our next school committee meeting is January 25th at 7. And then our February meetings are, I'm just double checking.
You could change the times on those.
Yeah.
Okay, so we changed but it's a February 15th, which is the third Tuesday. That's a change because I believe the following is during school vacation week. Is that correct?
I almost think the 15th is during vacation week, but I could be
Is it?
wrong.
In February?
In February.
No, I was just looking at that, February, the February meeting is on the 15th. Because for some reason, winter break is late.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right.
7 o'clock.
All right, so once again, on February 15th, which is the third Tuesday of the month, so a little different, we'll have our workshop at 6:30 and our regular meeting at 7. Okay, and that takes care of the information items. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Executive session.
Oh, executive session. Do I have a motion to go into?
Motion to go into.
Thank God I have you
executive
people.
session. Motion second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay,
1936.
goodness. Thank you for keeping me on track, people.
It was horrible.